All right, it's happening.
It's happening?
It's happening right now.
Someone is not holding a microphone.
That's fine. It's
Try calling it.
That was a really dumb joke, but I enjoyed it. Oh, yeah, right here.
There we go.
Good call.
Okay.
Back. We've done it again.
Three's a crowd.
From the Chuck Barris stages in Hollywood, California, it's Three's a Crowd. The game that determines who knows the husband best, his wife, or his secretary. Now let's meet the husband.
Welcome to Bottle Episodes.
I'm David Piccolomini.
I'm Daniel Crow.
And back for a second time.
Pamela Ross, hi.
I think we've technically kidnapped you for this.
I'm being held hostage.
Our original
Please help.
guest didn't show up, and you were kind enough to sit through 2 episodes of Three's a Crowd.
I'm in Ridgewood. I don't know the exact address because I can't remember it. No.
There's a doctor.
There's a doctor that provides medical services on the first floor.
All right. Well, now I know which. Yeah, I guess we have to release these two in order.
No, put the first one in the vault. Don't release it for months.
If you guys want that one's Patreon exclusive. You only get the second episode. All the callbacks will be useless.
There's important mythology.
I believe in building a strong mythology around bottle episodes.
So yeah.
Speaking of mythology, this show is made by a legend.
Yeah, I guess you can use that term for him.
I mean, he is technically like a TV legend.
Yeah. A lot of that legend is of his own building, and not true.
Well, but also the Gong Show.
Yeah, no. Okay, so Chuck Barris made Three's a Crowd. He created it. He was the producer. He created the dating game, the Newlywed Game. He created and hosted the Gong Show. If you've ever seen Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, it's a biopic about him where he claimed he was a CIA agent.
It's like a fake biopic.
No, it's based on a biography he wrote about himself.
But he claims that the biography he wrote about himself is fake.
I thought he always stood by it, and other people were like, no, that's made up.
No, it's confusing because he keeps going back and forth on.
Well, not anymore. He's dead.
Well, okay. Well, now he is waffling for eternity. That's his own hell.
Yeah.
He has to live in a world where simultaneously he has lived that extremely cool life and has not.
Schrodinger's game show producer.
Well, that's the podcast. We've done it, guys. Good
Yeah.
job. 2 minutes in. Anyway, so Three's a Crowd. Who would say? Actually, Pamela, you want to explain what it's about? We just watched it together.
Okay, so it's a game show where they invite a man and his secretary and his wife on, and it's about like quizzing the wife and the secretary on things they know about the guy.
It's similar
Right?
to the Newlywed Game in that it's like
Yeah.
they ask one person the question in a vacuum,
Mm-hmm.
and then they bring out. Oh, and what's different about it is they'll bring out like they ask the guy all these questions,
Right.
and then they bring out the secretary and ask the same questions and see if it matches.
And compare.
And then they bring out the wife, ask the same questions, and see if it matches the husband's. And whoever has more matches with the husband wins points for their
team. It's the team of secretaries versus wives.
Yes, and whichever team has the most points at the end wins $1,000. They have to
split 3 ways.
3 ways.
which is weird, even that because you're splitting it 330. Just one. Do they like give the last penny to whoever won the most points?
No, that penny goes straight into Chuck Barris's cocaine fund.
He uses that penny to cut up cocaine.
Yep. Because I think we should get into the background of this show and Chuck Barris. Chuck Barris was hugely successful at the time with all of these shows, to the point when they introduced Three's a Crowd, they say it's from the Chuck Barris studio. He had built his own studio where he was filming all of his game shows.
I love the idea that that just means that regular studios were like, we're not putting this demon show
that's probably also
on our
part
air.
of it.
And it's like, fuck you, I'll make my own studio. We'll do whatever we want, CBS.
But like Barris was producing hit after hit, but was also at the time notably out of his mind on cocaine. Like if you watch The Gong Show, in between,
Which I often do.
Yeah,
I think we all watch the
You
Gong
know,
Show.
yes, of course.
you know, they played it. They played reruns on the Game Show Network when I was a kid, so I've seen it. As he introduces every act, he is continually just touching his nose.
Is he
Because
really?
he's just like the whole time he's bringing people on stage, and he's clearly just done a line and then come out to introduce the next act.
I've just ripped one. Now watch this guy rip it up with juggling chainsaws.
Yeah, so he's out of his mind at this time, especially if he's actually saying the things that he wrote about in Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. If he's like saying to people these things.
Do you want to tell us? You want to tell the audience what Confessions of a Dangerous Mind is about?
Yes, it's about him saying that he was working for the CIA and that he was making these game shows with the CIA. Like you would go in the dating game and you would win a prize that would be like you would go on a date with the Bachelor or whatever, and then he would have to escort them, and they would send them to like Russia where he would go and escort them and go do missions while he was in Russia and stuff like that. Probably not true. Probably.
I do love this idea of the dating game where they're like, and now you get to take a romantic trip to the Kremlin.
Yeah.
So what was his diagnosis? I guess is my question.
70s. His diagnosis was 1970s.
It was doing a lot of cocaine and probably being
Short-
borderline.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, not to be rude, but I was like, what's wrong with him exactly?
Well, he
Like,
made Three's a Crowd.
Clearly, the cocaine is part of it.
So at the time, like he's making hit after hit after hit so that he can get anything he wants on the air. But Three's a Crowd is such a bomb that the network cancels all of his shows.
Literally all of his shows.
All of them are gone as soon as this show is on the air. They don't want to deal with him anymore. And I truly believe from the bottom of my heart that when the proposal for Three's a Crowd came across the desk of someone at the studio, they were like, greenlight it, because this is going to be so poorly received that we can eliminate our relationship with Chuck Barris without having to answer any questions. Because I would imagine he was a nightmare to work with in every conceivable way. And you couldn't just fire him because he was making a bunch of money. You needed a reason. And this was clearly the reason.
I would believe that for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because we were looking it up, and so like the United Auto Workers protested this show.
That is true.
Like there's nothing even anti-car about it.
Wait,
They just went out of their way. Like we're
not kidding. We looked this up. We couldn't find any more information about it other
Right.
than they did protest. There's like a picture of it protest.
we're not sure why they protest, just that they did.
because did they consider it like morally indecent?
Oh, everybody considered it morally indecent. That was really like a guy.
It's a huge part of it being canceled, I would
Yeah.
imagine, or being poorly received.
Literally, though, this is one of the few shows where feminists and conservatives were like, "This has to be off the air.
Yeah.
We cannot allow."
Because it wasn't just the
Aw.
United Auto Workers. There were a lot of people protesting this show. A lot.
It was an affront to so many people,
It was
so
a-
many different demographics.
Society as a whole was like, we can't do the actively cheat. What are we, French? We can't.
Yeah.
This show in France would have crushed. Are you
Oh,
kidding
it's
me?
on its 30th season there.
I honestly,
And everyone's open about the fact that they're sleeping with their secretaries and their wives.
yeah,
there.
no, it's a more active love competition in France. It's like, who actually knows you better? Who cares more about? You could do it with you could do. I'm just building the show out in France. I honestly loved Three's a Crowd. I really enjoyed the show.
You should bring it back. You should revive it.
They
They
did.
tried. They
They
tried.
did.
They tried.
In the early 2000s, the Game Show Network did one season of Three's a Crowd, but they didn't just stick to secretaries and wives. It was just like, who knows you better, your best friend or your girlfriend? They would just do different relationships.
like
the whole time.
boyfriend
Right.
or ex-boyfriend.
But I
So-
don't think the questions were as overtly like, are you two currently in a relationship?
Yeah, this show, like, I don't. The only reason this show wouldn't last is because I don't think you could have gotten people to do this show.
I don't know why anyone agreed to do this show as it stands. They all look like they're there by court order.
Well, that's the most baffling thing about the premise is that anyone agreed to it,
Yeah.
to do the format of the show.
Yeah, it was just like, how much did you want to be on TV? That you were like, I have a wife and a secretary. Sold.
Yeah. I sort of understand that the wives and the secretaries can make a little bit of money. There's some incentive for them in theory.
$333.
And adjusted for
That was more in the
inflation,
70s.
It's like $1,500 or whatever. It's not nothing, but it's not enough to lose your marriage or job over.
Pamela's face just was like, oh, that's not enough money.
But-
I mean, again,
The risk of divorce is so high.
Yeah. But then why are the husbands doing it?
because they stand to lose the most, right?
Yes, and gain nothing. Well, they don't gain nothing because they're given, I think, like car wax.
Yeah, they're giving car wax.
Literal car wax. That's not
That's
just.
the price for the husbands.
It's so close to sounding like a joke price. I need to clarify. This is sincerely the price. It's
very real.
They're like, wax your new car because you're gonna need it because you're gonna have to get a new wife.
Because your wife's taking the car. Because the pilot episode,
Your wife's taking the house. Wax the car.
the pilot episode definitely ends in 3 divorces,
I
You
would
think
say
so?
two solidly.
and then one that's on the rocks.
Yes.
That's part of why I wish we could figure out, I want like a where are they now? I need to
Oh,
know
man.
how these episodes impacted each relationship. Because we don't even know their last names, right?
We do actually. They say their last names. We could have looked up everybody. I did look up one of the.
okay.
I did look up one, and got some interesting information. So I
Okay.
do have like
Let's hear it.
one, where are they now? And that is about the Applebys,
Okay.
who were my favorite. One of my favorites of the couples. So they stayed together because she was an actress in. I want to say it was Israel. I have to relook this up. I'm going to pause.
Oh.
What's it called? I realize it doesn't actually matter. But basically, they moved to L.A. And that was, I think they were just trying to do TV promo for her. Because in the beginning of the episode, she's doing all this kind of dancing stuff. But they have stayed in TV because their daughter is Shiri Appleby, who is in Unreal. She's the lead actress in Unreal.
Oh my gosh.
So it worked out
Yeah.
for them.
She was in Roswell.
Yes. Roswell,
Yeah.
too. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
her career's launched because her parents were on Three's a Crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, that was the
That's
best.
amazing.
Yeah, if we had, and you see it all of a sudden, you're like, oh yeah, that is absolutely.
Yeah.
So it worked out for one couple.
Why did everyone else do it, though? No, were they all trying to launch their kids into TV fame? Because she was the only one that seemed like she liked being on TV.
She also
Right.
really, yeah, that
She was really like hamming it up.
She started nailing, she was upset, and then she realized whenever she could get a good joke in, she would do that instead. And then she was back to being fine with her husband kind of cheating.
Well, there was one other couple that was in an episode that we're not going to discuss that it was clear why they were in it because they were pretty open about the fact that they were a throuple.
Definitely talking about them.
It's not an
I've
episode
watched
that
every episode of this show.
Yeah.
And how many are there?
7.
Okay.
I would have watched all. It could have been 40. I would have watched all of them.
Right.
I was very in on the. There's something so fun about the idea of they're just blatantly destroying relationships.
Yeah.
So they ask these questions to these guys, and the first episode, the first question they ask is they're like,
Well, first they do really weird intros for them.
they do joke, yeah, they do the jokey newlywed,
But they're
intro.
not even really because one episode, one of the intros for a guy was like, "Hey, this guy, he's got a Saint Bernard with a big appetite. It loves children." That's the intro for this guy.
Right.
We're 30 seconds into a primetime television show. Like, hey, this guy's dog eats kids.
So
that a
large that
j-
it eats children.
Is that a joke or a threat?
It is. It's like someone was on acid.
No, it's like someone was on cocaine.
like someone was on cocaine.
Because
Yeah.
that was clearly written by an out of his mind Chuck Paris.
I don't remember exactly what the thing was, but because it's kind of muffled. But the first episode has this guy's a rock claw, and by that I mean he dresses like a Saint Bernard and eats rocks with his teeth off his driveway. That's a real intro they gave to a person.
Yeah, Chuck Paris was out of his mind. He had to be stopped. That's why the network was like, yeah, greenlight this so we can fire him. Because if they had
This
greenlit
is the full result of hubris.
pretty much, this idea came across their desk and they could have just been like, no, come back with another idea. And he would have come back in a week with an idea that worked.
You would have
But-
figured out the cheating idea I love the idea that Chuck Barris is sitting there being like, everybody's fucking cheating. Why aren't we talking about it?
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, what's a fun format for a game show in which I can make that extremely clear?
You're fucking. We're all fucking our secretaries.
Yeah.
And he came up with Three's a Crowd. I here's what I do like about it. I am fascinated by it as a portal into that culture where, I mean, how many men do you know as secretaries now? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
we're not living in a Don Draper land
It's executive
anymore.
assistants. That's what they have. They're way better paid.
And they still do marry some of them.
Yes,
But-
for sure.
But it's not the culture, like
It's shifted.
the culture around work has shifted so much.
That being said, I would love to watch the Mad Men episode of Three's a Crowd.
And it's Dawn, Megan, and Betty.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh man, hey, just make that sketch and put it on TikTok or something and enjoy a very specific kind of virality.
Just Pete with Allison Brie.
With Alison Brie and Alexis Bledel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would love that so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first question they ask in the show, though, literally, honestly, it's all on Daily Motion. Definitely watch this one.
Before they ask the question, that they do introduce the host as the star of Three's a Crowd, which no, he's not. The star of Three's a Crowd is how uncomfortable it is.
So the first question is literally just when it comes to your secretary sexually.
No, when it comes to sex with your
Your secretary.
Sex with your secretary.
Are you holding yourself back?
Or letting yourself go.
No surprise, all three men answer they've been holding themselves back.
Right.
As you have to.
Yes.
Because you also see it on the first guy's face. Maybe we could spoil the whole episode. The first guy is cheating on his wife with his secretary, barely holding back on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she is very much like sex potting, like on screen. Like when she gets on screen, she like starts to just be like, yeah, I thought we were just coming out and let everybody know we were fucking on
Right.
this.
Which is bad gamesmanship. If you want to win the money, you need to know you're not trying to answer the truth. You're trying to answer what you think he answered.
Right.
Like it's like she doesn't want to win.
You might
Well,
say she's a cheater.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to win the show. she
You think she's just trying to get him divorced so she can get in on that?
wants to win at life.
Yeah, that was a victory lap for her.
That was the whole show was a long con for her. She was looking right past it and thinking,
I'm about to score this guy at the screen printing shop.
She's
Yeah.
the one that pitched Three's a Crowd to Chuck Barris in the first place.
she's like, listen, Chuck. She had such a cute little voice.
Yeah, she did. It was that full like, hi.
And the small voice only infuriated the wife even more when she came on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh,
The wife got so mad, I stopped remembering that it was the 70s. She was so mad, it was like she was here in
She
2023.
was furious.
her anger brought her into the present.
Yes.
Present.
like because they have to censor her,
Yeah.
and they've clearly designed their censor for like pretty mild curse words.
Because it's a goofy
It's
70s.
a goofy little show, so
Yeah.
anytime there's a word that they can't say, it's just a little whap, whap sound or whatever.
Well, it's the one you would be like, oh, his penis. And
Yeah,
you'd be
and you
like,
would-
his wah wah.
Yeah.
Right.
But instead, she is full on vitriolically cursing at the secretary. Every other word is just little bells ringing when she is saying some truly vile things
And this-
directed at the secretary.
And the secretary is kind of coquettish. And
Yeah.
she kind of like, she's completely trolling her.
Yeah.
Oh, 1,000%. Like,
Yeah.
she knew exactly what she was going to do on that show.
Yeah.
And she started playing a little bit coy. And as soon as the cat's out of the bag, she's like, well, I'm in for it now.
And the guy, the husband, stops saying anything. Like, once the secretary and wife are out there, he doesn't say another word.
He looks terrified.
He just looks.
as he should.
Yeah. He's just wondering who's going to murder him first. I have never seen a man with a gold tooth look less cool. By the way, there are two people in this episode missing teeth.
Missing teeth. And I guess I forgot that all these orthodontic practices were not as
Advanced.
common
No,
No.
yeah.
and definitely not as advanced because everyone's teeth are bad.
Very. It is
Straight up.
full on jack teeth. It's before modern orthodontics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you feel it.
You definitely feel it.
Wait, and then we had the guy who was on a boat.
He lives on a
They
boat.
lived on a boat.
Lives on a boat.
And the way that you learn that is that in the, I guess it would be the third round because the wife is there.
It's like the last question.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's right. And when she's, it was where do you want to make love, but you haven't because your wife won't.
No. That's the other episode. It's
Oh, I'm
last
confusing
time
them.
your
Wife
wife didn't want to make
refused.
love.
What did you do? What did you
Make
do?
whoopee. By
Make
the way.
whoopee, right.
Let's be appropriate.
And
for
she's
the
like,
kids.
well, as I'm sure you know, We live on a boat. And I'm like, none of us knew that.
Well, so hold on. Okay, so
None of us
I've
knew.
watched this episode probably now 4 times. So I picked up on some weird clues. She goes
You're looking
sailing.
You're looking for hidden
Oh,
messages.
go sailing, right?
That's why she would go sailing, because they live on a boat.
But I just thought he's a business owner that likes to sail.
Of course, that's the thing you should think.
That would be the
That
reasonable,
would be the reasonable
conclusion.
thing. Also, it's so much funnier when you think about it, because that means that man went, "Oh, you're not gonna fuck me? Well, then our house is moving."
And then she said the thing that he'd actually done when she rejected him was that he said, "Oh, well, fine. Then I'm just going to go pick up a woman at a bar." And then he tried to get off the boat and fell into the water because he was probably really drunk.
We forgot to mention
Absolutely hammered.
We forgot to mention the angry wife's first. By the way, she's been answering all of her questions furious.
Which
The first wife.
the first wife,
The
yes.
angry one. But when she gets the question of what was the thing your husband did last time you refused to sleep with him, she completely deadpans, threatened me.
Oh yeah, that was actually.
Oh my God.
Because it was
That was
relaxed.
actually not funny, but it was so funny.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
like,
man.
because it was so real. It's someone who had just fully given up on the premise that she was on a game show.
Yeah.
And like, if she could have put her legs up while she said it, like, just to be like, "Listen, I'll tell you exactly who this man is right
Yeah.
now."
Yeah.
Because she's like, threatened me, and then said he could fuck whoever he want, but I know it's bullshit.
Like, I get why the secretary and the wife agreed. Because the secretary wants to cause the divorce, and the wife wants to out this guy as a bad guy. Why did he agree?
Because he is
Dumb.
He's
Yeah.
a pawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a pawn with, I guess, no agency. An idiot.
It's yeah. There's no other words for like, "Hey, dude, who's fucking your secretary? Would you like to put this under scrutiny?" How much? Well, it will be on a major television network.
Oh, how many channels are there? There's 3. There's a 1 in 3 chance of people in the country
accidentally
seeing
watching
Yes.
this.
I need the deep dive on them, but I feel like,
Murder,
that could
suicide.
end. I was going to say that could end really dark.
Yeah, I know you could find a documentary about them. It's probably airing on Oxygen once a week.
And they do reenactments. There's
Yeah.
there's a comic we know in the reenactment.
just doing it. It's just like Matt Richards going, "Ah."
Oh, we didn't even get on. So there's.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying the episode, be sure to check us all out on Instagram. You can find Pamela Ross at Pam.Anderson. You can find me at DPIC Comedy and Daniel Crow at Daniel F. Crow on Instagram. I wanted to say something different because I said that at the beginning, but then it just came out anyway. Anyway, I'm stopping us from listening to this episode instead of... Anyway, check out Pamela's show if you're in New York every Tuesday. Just come. It's at Graham Bar. It's great. Or the Graham. The Graham. It's a dive bar. It's very fun. You should go to it. It's a great show. I'll be there on the August 29th if you're listening to this. I'll be there every August 29th, no matter when you're listening to this. I will just show up. We'll make it a thing. TikTok, Lit Grandma 69, and check out my comedy special, Goblin King, on YouTube. Okay, great. Let's get back to the episode.
There's the 3 couples. The one where the guy is cheating and lying about it.
It's actively private, like actively blatantly cheating.
Yeah, a secret affair. There's the one in the middle where there's not really an affair happening at all.
No, they are like what the show would have eventually become. Is as you're vetting it, you find people who are playfully fun, and then occasionally you find the nutcases that'll just be on TV.
And then there's the guy who is having an affair with his secretary. His wife knows, but she kind of doesn't care. She's just like, yeah, we're old. I don't really care about this guy anymore.
She's come to terms with clearly they're fucking.
Yeah. But the guy's still lying about it. Meanwhile, the wife and secretary think, it's funny.
Yeah, it is weird how they both kind of just eventually come out with it. She's like, "Oh, we're just talking about it? Well, then
Yeah.
I've got a lot to say." They might have been my favorite couple.
The old couple
Yeah.
and the secretary missing a tooth.
Was she missing a tooth?
Yeah, and like back when she smiled.
Oh.
I'm out there looking for the teeth all the time.
You're like counting. You're like 1, 2.
This is what asexuality is. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna look for any imperfections. I'm not interested in fucking them. I just want to know.
Just want to shame them on our podcast that no one listens to. But yeah, I guess we should go over all the questions they ask in the episode.
Right.
So we've gone over 2 of them.
First one is always the same.
No.
No.
Are you leaning?
Oh.
Are you?
Well, they didn't say that in the
No,
second episode.
it's different in other episodes.
Welp, I got confused.
It's
So they're like, hey, you try to fuck your secretary.
that's the first question. Second is your secretary is going to ask you in the sexiest way possible to
For-
give you a $5 a week
Oh,
raise.
right. Okay.
And 2 of them say no.
Technically, that's way more valuable
But
than the $330 you were gonna get from this.
yeah,
Right.
but like two of the guys say no, and their secretaries know they're going to say no, and one's like, "I'll say yes, but only because I was planning on giving her a $10 a week raise, and you've just saved me money." Why would you admit that on television?
That guy's also giving a $10 raise. That guy was such a push. He was a pushover.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like nice is not the right. He is nice, but not in like a good way. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's just like, as long
He was
as he
nice for a guy that was born in 1915.
Yeah,
No, he's like a doormat.
yeah, he's nice
Yeah.
as long as he could kind of do whatever he wanted, and just kind of like sneak around. Like, yeah, his wife pushed him around. Yeah, his wife immediately started bullying him when she realized that she could.
Yeah.
Yeah, immediately.
So
What
it's,
did you think of the contestants? Try and ask more questions.
I just thought, again, I just thought they were all such stars. Whoever cast this deserves some kind of recognition.
well,
Also,
good news. They made a biopic about him.
But was he like personally finding these people? Like, I need.
I-
I'm
no
willing to bet.
idea.
I'm willing to bet they gave him. Well, he was probably there for the auditions. He probably got the final approval on people.
I mean, it is that level of like the like it's the megalomaniac control thing that happens where it's like, oh yeah, they're an auteur. You just let them start getting away with whatever they want because they're like a genius who's super competent.
Yeah.
But then that just goes off the rails because you just keep pushing boundaries, and eventually you run out of ladder.
Yeah.
And you make threes a crowd.
So then there's the question about last time you tried to make whoopee with your wife and she said no.
What did you do?
Yeah.
Those are every question is bad. Every question is just like, hey, are you fucking your secretary?
And the point is like they're designed to be revealing. So if you know the answer, it shows that you know the person reasonably well.
Yeah.
yeah.
But they're all just about like fucking.
But
think-
it is like, hey, as a boss, do you go, hey, my wife won't fuck me, so I rolled over in my sleep,
Yeah.
or I went over to fuck my secretary?
Right.
Yeah. All of their answers are like, I watched the game. And then the secretary's like, yeah, so he came over to my place
Watch the
every
game.
time. And then I think the last question, am I forgetting a question? But whatever. The last question is physically, if you could replace one thing on your wife with one thing from your secretary, what would it be? Mm-hmm. And the guys all try to answer as innocently as possible.
But that's so much
Yeah.
more dangerous.
They try to like dance around.
One says eyes, one says height. One tries to say smile, and they say you can't say smile, so he says lips.
Because he's like smile, it's lips.
Yeah.
But also, important detail, they're like, first of all, we're switching the racks immediately.
Yeah.
Just get rid of your wife's old garbage boobs. We're bringing in the new secretary boobs. You can't say boobs.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is weird, because is that too easy of a trap?
Was the assumption that they would all answer boobs and
Probably,
they wanted to
yeah.
just like head it off at the pass?
But that's a weird one for that to be the one assumption they made during the show.
Yeah.
They're like, first of all, we gotta not do tits because we've pulled 100 men and they've all said tits.
But then the secretaries get a chance to answer, and they all say like hips.
No, they match on eyes.
One
One of them
eyes
was
does
right.
get a match. One
Yeah.
says hips. I can't remember what the last one says.
Uh,
Tukis? Does she say tukis?
Tukis.
no, Tukis was
one of the
wife
Oh,
wives.
the
answer.
blonde
Okay.
one.
No, that was the wife answer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I forget. It's
Anyway, the secretaries all go for something pretty flattering for themselves that would be taken, and then the wives come in and go scorched earth. And one of the very rightfully angry woman goes, I don't know. He doesn't like women that look like a cow.
A cow.
yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I'd have to go with her feet. Which then starts a big fight between the two of them that goes on for a while.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, you wish you looked like me." It's just a full It is a prequel to Jerry Springer.
She's like, God didn't make a mistake. She basically was like, God packaged me correctly. Like,
yeah, God knew what he was doing when he
it
made
was
me.
so great.
So it just cuts between the two of them yelling at each other, and then every now and then a shot of the husband looking mortified.
Like, I
Completely
can't believe,
silent.
how did he think this was gonna play out?
Yeah.
And then they just kind of move on.
Yeah, they move. The host said after like 3 minutes, like, all right, let's go to the other group, and you can still hear them arguing. They've just turned down their microphones as much as possible, and those two are still arguing. And then they cut to the next wife, who
I think that might have caused the divorce because she was like, "Oh, that's when Tuckus came in." Because she's playing around. They've been nailing it the whole show. They've fully been invested in, like, they're doing playful answers. It's all fun. It's all flirty, but it's cute. They have the answer where she's like, he's actually been holding himself back because he keeps telling me about this fantasy that he has.
Oh,
where he
yeah.
fucks both of us in the boardroom.
Oh, right.
I'm over one shoulder, she's over the other shoulder. So that's a weird So it's weird the wife just brings up the threesome fantasy that he has.
Right.
Because they still have to work together.
But then she finds out she answered eyes, and it actually hurts her.
Oh, yeah. She's like, oh, what about my eyes? Do you not like? And really, what I think they're trying to say is, like, they're like, oh, she has nice eyes. My secretary has nice eyes.
Yeah.
But all she hears is, every time you look at my eyes, you're thinking about your secretary's eyes.
But then it gets to the last husband-wife, the wife, again, just continuing the tradition of the meanest answer possible. The secretary just looks and goes, I don't know, her ears.
No, worse than that. First of all, she's like, I like my chest.
Yeah.
I don't need her fucking shitty-ass secretary chest. I
Yeah.
like what I got.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess ears. Fine. Make me pick. It was weird, though, because honestly, what I think was making her the most mad is that they were talking about it publicly.
Yeah. You know what's weird? I just realized he answered smile to the one that was missing a tooth.
Her teeth. That would have been terrifying if any of them answered her teeth.
That's why she's missing a tooth. He stole one while she was sleeping. He just collects teeth.
So, Betty, has Don been holding back or letting go with the secretary? Just picturing like Betty Draper trying to answer any of these questions.
Yeah.
I really liked The Last Wife a lot. She was a lot. She, like, once she realized that, she was like, oh, we're just talking about how much you actively rave about your secretary now. Well, now I get to let off some baggage.
Yeah.
Also, she just kind of admitted to casually jerking off to Johnny Carson, right? Did we all
Yes,
catch that?
she did say that.
Oh, when she was like,
Had a glass. She gave
Had a
him
glass-
2 Advil. Had a glass after he turned her down for sex.
right.
Yeah, because she says she never turns it down. He's the one that doesn't want to.
She's
Oh,
the
she was like,
aggressor.
I'm the aggressor.
And then, she's like, oh, he's always so tired from when Shirley wants to hang out. And she's like, I got a glass of wine and settle down into Johnny Carson. Those are just, that is weird. Yeah, also pornography wasn't, like, nearly as much of a thing in that time. So people were just casually jerking off to the news.
Someone was to Three's a Crowd.
Yeah, me.
There was like a preteen somewhere who saw Three's a Crowd and then had a threesome fantasy so strongly from that point forward.
Three's a Crowd is the reason everyone's polyamorous nowadays.
We've all learned our lesson from... I want to date both. They seem nice.
But so then after those are all the questions, and the first episode ends with a great line from the host. We'll see you next week if we're still here. Like, he expects to get canceled after one episode.
So we watched this one, and then obviously none of these are rated.
No.
Any episode we wanted to give an IMDb rating would become the top rated episode. So we just went with episode 6 or episode 7.
Your favorite as the world's biggest Three's a Crowd fan.
I might be.
Yeah. Certainly not Chuck Barris. He hates the show probably.
Well, he's dead. So
R.I.P.
yeah, Three's a Crowd couldn't save him from this, from dying.
Yeah.
But he lives on forever in our hearts.
Yeah.
So episode 7, you notice immediately the host is significantly drunker
But there's a lot of long pauses where people just give their answer. He doesn't say anything and then just goes, okay.
And just moves on.
Yep.
Because he could feel them also just like mess up answers, essentially.
Yeah.
There's this episode's got a guy who kind of looks like Frankenstein's teenage son.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can describe it. Like, he's got an afro.
Yeah, the fro.
The fro is huge, but it is full Frankenstein features, the rest of him. And then, like, a dude from the Middle East named Johnny Appleby, who rules. He's also, it felt like a made-up name until you looked at it spelled. And then it's like, oh, that's just a weird version of it. But it did look like a guy who was like, it looked like a Yakov Smirnoff style
Instead
name.
of Johnny Appleseed.
No, just Applebee's. Like, that's a popular place.
Well, I don't think it was at the time.
You're right. That makes sense. I was using the wrong lens.
His secretary really helped him make it a big chain.
Yeah, his media company.
Yep.
And what's the last guy? Oh, the most, like, New York Jewish dude or L.A. Jewish, like.
And the first question on that episode is like, hypothetically, if, you divorced your wife and married your secretary, where are you moving?
Which, yeah, that's only dangerous if you match.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's pretty innocuous.
I'm going to give spoilers for this episode.
Yeah.
Oh, there's only one match at any point. This game ends 0-1 in favor of the wives.
It's truly soccer
Yeah,
rules.
this one was very chaotic.
Yeah, the first episode ended like 5-6 in favor of the wives.
Yeah, people kind of guessed. But there were a lot more binary answers. It was a lot more like yes or no kind of things. You could.
Yeah.
Like letting himself go, holding himself back, did a lot of weight in that first episode.
Yeah, very true.
But this one, no matches at all. And partially from people just not like a romantic getaway. Where would you go? Unless you fully talked about it.
Yeah, so all the guys, they answer
Oh,
Tel Aviv, San Diego, and Denver.
Yeah.
San Diego's funny because they film in L.A. So he's like, oh, you're going to drive an hour with your secretary south. Cool.
And then the secretaries all answer pretty romantic places.
Very like romantic like getaways.
Tahiti, Paris, New York City.
And really, one of them was because Private Island doesn't count as a city.
Yeah.
They had multiple people had trouble with the just answering a specific city.
Yeah, one said California.
The wife, she's like, California.
It's like, ma'am.
Also, I love that she knows her husband so well, because that's the third wife with the very New York Jew guy, who she's just like, I don't know, he'd probably just stay in L.A.
And I believe the answers, they were L.A., Houston, and then one wife said, it better be like a war-torn country.
It was in Israel, yeah.
Yeah. It was like Karachi or something.
Karachi, yeah.
I don't know. It's somewhere like, just
the Middle
war-torn
East.
Middle East. Because, she was just, what was it? She didn't get the game for the first two questions.
Right.
She very much thought she was on like the Newlyweds game.
She had more fun than anyone else ever had playing the game, though. Except for that other episode where it was clearly a throuple who were pretty open about that fact.
Yeah, once they realized that's what the game was, they were all like, I guess we're just doing this then. Yeah, we all fucked it. They know I'm fucking... Yeah, my wife knows I'm fucking my secretary. She watches. She's in.
Yeah.
I can't... Yeah, that guy literally... It was wild to watch because by the end of it, his arm's just around both of them.
He's kissing them both. It's so weird.
Like, literally, he kisses them both, and then the host goes, whoa, let's do that again, and then he just does it again. He's like, yeah, everybody can see this. That one, I forget what the question is, but it was like, what is like a centimeter off on your wife? And literally all three of them answered different versions of saying the wife's pussy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
including the wife.
But they all use different euphemisms, and the show doesn't accept it.
That would not have been my go-to. I'm gonna be honest. I would have just said like belly button or something.
Well, one person says like an actual scar, which is a safe, and then one person like says their brain. It's like my wife's brain is a little off. I'll tell you that. This whole show, honestly, it's worth watching. It's all on Daily Motion. Not stop.
I'm surprised you didn't watch an hour-long documentary about Three's a Crowd.
There wasn't one. I would have. I would have watched I will watch everything about this. I watched the watch-alongs, that some other dudes did, where it's just two dudes watching the show, and I was like, yeah, I'll watch it again with you guys.
Hopefully they listen to the podcast.
Oh my god, I hope they watch them watching the show while listening to the podcast.
You want them to react to the podcast episode?
Yes.
Yes.
It's going to be so meta when they reacted to this part of the podcast.
They'll be like, whoa, they're talking about us. That's crazy.
And now they're going to react to the part where they reacted to that part.
Whoa,
And it's
that's
a
crazier.
never-ending cycle.
Oh my god, this is wild. Are they talking about us?
What's their name?
I don't remember.
Shout out to those guys.
They're watching bad TV shows online. People
Okay.
are making them do it.
Okay.
So far, this is the only overlap we've had.
Yeah,
I know you're worried.
I'm very worried. Anyway, the questions from the episode we were discussing, episode 7.
Okay, yes. Weirdest thing you've had in your pants?
Yeah. One guy says a salamander,
Right.
doesn't elaborate,
He also goes, my wife and secretary aren't going to get this.
which is not how the game works.
But he answered honestly.
I guess.
He
yeah.
genuinely thought the salamander was the weirdest thing.
Which probably, but,
Yeah.
But also, he then gets mad when they don't know the answer. It's
Yeah.
insane.
He acts like it's the most obvious thing in the world that they would guess
every question.
salamander. I'm like,
He gets mad every time the secretary doesn't get a question right. He doesn't understand the game.
He's just like, ugh. Just every time.
he's very, very Jewish.
He would get mad when the secretary wouldn't answer.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
you don't want them to get it right. That's the point of the game. You want to stay married at the end of it.
Well, but okay, but the man doesn't win either way because it's either the wives or the secretaries win.
Technically,
Technically.
if the wives win, he gets in on that $300.
they have to share the $330.
Well, like if they have a joint bank account.
Yeah, because women weren't allowed to have bank accounts
Yeah.
back then.
Oh, right. Everything about like the logistics and economics and like the practical realities of this game are so maddening to me.
Yeah, it's almost like a guy on a lot of coke made this show.
Who was
Like a crazy person
how come-
addicted to cocaine.
How come nobody's talking about how we're all fucking our secretaries?
Yeah.
We should make a game show about it. That's how blatant it was. It's like if they had just made a show like that was like in the 50s being like, we're going to try and get these black kids into school. Watch,
Oh
sneak.
my God.
like,
Jesus.
like, that's what I'm saying. It's
Cut
like,
that out and let's try a different line right there. Let's cut that one out and do a different joke, David, all right?
Let's do an alt.
hey, guys.
First of all, don't go further back than the 90s, please. Give me an
like-
example from the 90s.
It'd be like a radio play where everybody's like, we're going to work. Who can nail these railroad pegs the fastest?
Yeah, fine. Okay. We'll settle for that.
That's actually the alternate title for this podcast. Is we'll settle for that. I mean, we could just use Work It, the show where they had cross-dressing dudes in 2013.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got into a deep philosophical discussion about what work it meant on television at the time.
The premise was that they were like, all these ladies in the workforce they're taking our jobs. So then they cross-dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically. That
Wow.
was 100%. You just, in one sentence.
So
Love
that's why there should be an episode of Three's a Crowd where a guy cross dresses as a secretary so that he can just like try to win money because he knows his friend really well.
Or a guy who wants to go on the show, he doesn't have a secretary.
So he just has his friend dress up as his secretary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could just ask any woman to pretend to be your secretary.
Well, I mean,
Or a man.
We assume there was no kind of verification in the casting process.
Yeah, it was a lot of.
It would actually be really funny if there was a guy that had like a guy come on as a secretary and they didn't know what to do with all the questions.
What do you like? They were like,
Yeah, because
oh.
they would ask the same questions. But the guy would just be like, man, I don't know.
That would be funny if the guy knew all the answers though, because they just had bro talk all the
Yeah.
time. They're like, yeah, they keep trying to fuck on the kitchen table, but his
Oh, yeah,
wife
that was
won't
one of the
let.
questions in this episode. It was, where's the one place you want to make whoopee that your wife won't let you? And one guy gave us too much insight into his psyche, and he said, in a bathtub full of Jell-O. And he said it with real darkness in his voice.
He didn't say it like, oh, wouldn't this be like a fun little joke? Like
He's like, yeah, his
like
voice,
a little bit of frivolity. Like, no, he was taking it very seriously.
Yeah.
just full gravel in his tone too, as he's just like a bathtub full of Jello.
like,
And another-
To the point where his secretary was like, gross. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's right.
And then
Right.
then another guy said in a crowded theater, and then he looked right at the camera and went, "That's just the kind of guy I am."
so an exhibitionist?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, sir?
I date hot actresses, and we fucking crowded theaters.
Was the implication that it was an adult movie theater? No.
No,
No.
They were there during a showing of Star Wars.
Gotcha.
No, Star Wars hadn't come out yet.
What year was this?
The 70s? It was early. It was like, wasn't it like 1970?
I thought this was late 70s.
Maybe it was late 70s. I thought it was like the first. Okay.
Because Barris had been successful for a long time, and then this ruined.
It brought
looking at-
about his ruin.
It was the
I mean,
destruction
yeah.
of
It did.
Barris.
It's like a notable show in the history of television at that point.
Yeah, because it is just the thing that where everybody went, oh, yeah, okay, we can take him down now. This is the hit show.
Yeah.
Has there ever, what are other versions of this? Have there ever been other versions of this where people have like had.
Yeah, they're like films that just like kill directors' careers,
Oh,
albums
yeah.
that are so bad that artists can never recover.
Oh, 1979. I got it confused. I thought it was
Yeah,
1969.
Star Wars has come out by this point, but okay, so
Fun
70
fact, first episode released on my birthday.
Oh, dude, no wonder you love it so much. So, but it is 79, so Star Wars isn't in theaters anymore. So he wants to make Whoopi in a crowded theater of Apocalypse Now. It's in theaters. That's what he wants to do.
And that's why they're shouting the horror, the horror.
Yeah. Which I was shouting at the screen the first time I watched these episodes. And look, then the show just ends 1-0. The wives win. Do you want to give your
We
fun
didn't
fact?
say about the point.
Oh, the 1 point?
Yeah, where the point was.
Oh,
scored.
yeah. What was the question being? What was the one thing, like the weirdest thing that happened when you and your secretary were engaged in a light romantic moment?
Yeah.
And the only point anyone gets in the whole episode is one guy says, "One time I fell in my chair, my legs up, and then my secretary started having a seizure or whatever."
Yeah.
He uses the word spastic,
Spastic.
Yeah.
which is key.
And she, when they get to the secretary, that's not her answer. She's like, "I think
A button popped.
a button popped,"
Right off my pants.
and
Yeah.
then they say his answer, and she goes, "Oh yeah, that did happen."
she goes, "Oh yeah, when you fell off your chair and I got spastic."
Yeah. She knew exactly the moment.
And
exact moment.
they don't elaborate. But then they get to the wife, and she's like, "Probably that time he fell out of his chair with his legs right up, and then she started getting spastic." And they're like, "Yep, there's a point for you. Would you like to elaborate?" "No." "Okay." It's only the deciding factor in this episode.
It's like,
I love, by the way, how caught up you are on that it's still a game show.
It is, because I told you this last night before we recorded this, but the way I got through this episode was by imagining how each trio would do as a team on Only Connect.
That is, it is a British, really complicated game
It's a
show.
very difficult game show.
oh, okay.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
No, I don't think any of them would do very well. on
No, they
Only
would not do
Connect.
well.
Yeah,
The threesome couple, though, might have a chance.
yeah, because they know how to work as a unit.
But also.
They've already connected.
They fully connected.
Yeah,
They might not be good at the game, so because it's a lot of trivia and they're clearly busy fucking each other.
yeah. Can we turn this into an episode about Only Connect?
No,
Oh.
I only want to talk about Three's a Crowd.
I'd like to talk about Only Connect, even though it's a very good show that I
We're
love.
we're gonna stop doing the next episode. We're just gonna do another Three's a Crowd
No!
episode. We could do up to
Our
3
next
of them.
guest is already here waiting. Hello.
And he's gonna do Three's a Crowd with us.
Okay.
I have a gun. We're doing Three's a Crowd.
But I think you need to tell our fun fact about one of the couples in this episode. We didn't really get into why you loved this couple so much. So go ahead and tell.
Wait, which one?
The one that you just showed us on the screen.
Yeah, the rest of them ended up in murder-suicides, but that one specifically ended up pretty
Oh.
well. Wow, that's gonna be a weird edit.
I had forgot you had already said something in the episode. Forgive me, everybody.
I was like, what more fun facts do I have? Okay, so now, you know.
Well,
how this
there's one
works.
fun fact. There is one episode that we didn't really discuss where a guy looks like a Geico caveman.
Is that a fun fact?
He's very hairy.
Is that a fact?
It's a fact that
I
he's
guess
very
it's a
hairy.
fact that he's hairy.
He's very hairy.
He's
That's
your
an
suit.
opinion. You don't
Yeah.
know. He could be. It could be just here.
Oh, you think that was just makeup for
No,
the?
but he could be hairy here and just smooth all the
You
way
could
down.
tell from his eyebrows, though. Those were thick eyebrows.
It could be like a Brett Gelman situation where he's just like a baby seal.
All right.
That's actually just from a movie. I realize now he's probably pretty hairy.
Anyway, this is the part where we recommend a show or say what we would improve.
No, both. Yeah, you know how this works.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's how I would improve Three's a Crowd.
Okay.
You take the team of 3,
Yes.
and you give them a series of 4 clues. And at the end of the 4 clues, you say, how are these 4 related? And that's round 1. Now, see, round 2. I'm describing Only Connect.
Yeah.
I'm describing Only Connect.
So it would be better if it was a
I was
proper
like, that's a
game
really
show.
good idea.
You should watch Only
It would
Connect.
make everything more cohesive.
Yeah.
Actually, the New York Times just introduced a new game called Connections, which just rips off one of the rounds from Only Connect.
Interesting.
New York Times, you owe Only Connect some money.
You're on notice.
You're on notice, New York Times.
Yeah, and not just because you employ Andy Borowitz. Call back to the last episode.
Yeah.
No, you're right. That's New Yorker.
New Yorker.
Shit. Never mind. Now it's a real callback.
How would you improve Three's a Crowd?
I think I want to see people actively doing cocaine on screen.
Yeah.
You want them? You want drugs
Because-
available?
If anything, I think it would just, it's the context we need to make sense of the show.
I would. Yeah. No. Like, there's just a table up on the front, and on top of it, there's just several drugs. Like, there's cocaine and booze and weed and like different pills you could take.
I assure
Yeah,
you
and
that that was backstage.
But anytime you got nervous or you had anxiety about the answers or whatever, you could just walk up there and just, no questions asked, take some of the drugs.
Right.
And how would you? I'm assuming you would not improve it in any way.
Add more people to each team.
Just more secretaries,
More
ex-girlfriends.
people who work there or just work at the place they're at. Just add more people to it. I want it messier. I just want more. I want it to be like 5s just enough.
We need to see a mother-in-law
Yeah.
get introduced.
A surprise mother-in-law. They were like, guess who's also fucking?
Actually, yeah, like we're not that long after The Graduate. That would have been in the zeitgeist.
Listen, just get Hall & Oates in there, double teaming one of the wives.
Hall and Oates,
Mrs. Robinson?
Simon and Garfunkel.
God damn it.
We're really firing on all cylinders today, folks.
These are all the cylinders I have.
So shows that you would recommend instead of Three's a Crowd.
Other episodes of Three's a Crowd. It's a masterpiece.
enough.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh my gosh. I'll recommend the other two.
The other
which
two's, yeah. go
is
ahead.
so good and was, I think the first, well, I mean, it's all on HBO Max.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's very funny. It's a great, I like any kind of showbiz satire, so.
It is a deep satire of show business that it's so much fun. It's so funny. And so it's weird that it got things right that then came true like directly after.
Yeah.
Like the Globby thing.
It's a little like 30 Rock in that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me?
Go ahead.
If you'd like to watch a game show with teams of 3, watch Only Connect.
Oh, yeah, we should have seen that one coming. I really. I'm going to recommend BoJack Horseman, which has a game show in it that's very good and really gets down to the soul of what it means to be a human.
Yeah.
Much like
Three's a Crowd. I guess also watch Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. It's a film, but if you are interested by Only Connect, you'll probably be interested in the life of noted lunatic Chuck Barris.
And watch these couples have sex. Afterwards, as I snuck down to their old folks' homes, they're all still together, actually.
Yeah.
The game show was a lie. I don't really know how to end this episode.